The coffee shop on 5th and Maple had exactly 3 things going for it: strong espresso, decent Wi-Fi, and the kind of anonymity that came from being tucked between a laundromat and a pawn shop. Nobody looked at anyone too closely here. That was why Elena came every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, laptop open, headphones in, pretending the rest of the world didn't exist. She liked it that way. Quiet, predictable, safe. The bell above the door chimed at exactly 2:15. Elena didn't look up. She never did. Her fingers moved across the keyboard, finishing the quarterly report her boss needed by Friday. The coffee shop hummed with its usual soundtrack: the hiss of the espresso machine, the murmur of conversations, the scrape of chairs against worn linoleum. Then something shifted. It wasn't a sound exactly. More like a change in air pressure, the way the atmosphere feels right before a thunderstorm. Elena's fingers paused over the keys. She told herself she was imagining things. She told herself to keep working, but her eyes lifted anyway. He stood at the counter, tall and still, like a wolf that had wandered into a room full of rabbits. Dark suit, darker hair, and an expression that suggested he was calculating something important. The barista, usually chatty and bright, had gone quiet. Even the espresso machine seemed to hesitate. Elena dropped her gaze back to her screen. None of her business. She had learned a long time ago not to stare at men who carried that kind of presence. Men like that were trouble. They had to be. She heard his footsteps. Steady, purposeful, coming closer. Please walk past. Please walk past. Please walk past. The chair across from her scraped against the floor. Elena's heart kicked against her ribs. She kept her eyes on her laptop, watching the cursor blink on the screen. Maybe if she ignored him, he would take the hint. Maybe he would realize he had made a mistake and move to one of the dozen other empty tables. You come here often. His voice was low, smooth with an edge that suggested the words weren't really a question. Elena's jaw tightened. She looked up, ready to deliver the kind of polite but firm brush-off she had perfected over the years. The words died in her throat. His eyes were gray. Not the soft gray of morning mist, but the gray of storm clouds and steel. They pinned her in place, reading something in her face that she hadn't meant to show. She cleared her throat. I'm working. If you're looking for a seat, there are other tables. One corner of his mouth lifted. It wasn't quite a smile. I'm not looking for a seat. Silence stretched between them. Elena could feel the weight of his attention, heavy and focused. It made her want to run. It made her want to stay. The contradiction was maddening. What do you want? She asked, proud that her voice came out steady. He tilted his head slightly, studying her. Your name. That's not how this works. You don't just sit down at someone's table and... Elena. He said it softly, like he was tasting the word. Elena Voss, 26. Lives alone in an apartment on the east side. Works as a financial analyst at Meridian Consulting. Drinks her coffee black, no sugar. Prefers corner tables. Always sits with her back to the wall. The blood drained from Elena's face. Fear spiked through her chest, sharp and cold. Her hand moved instinctively toward her phone. He raised one hand, palm out. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to protect you. Protect me? The word came out strangled. You just listed personal information about me like you've been watching me. That's not protection. That's stalking. There's a difference. His expression didn't change. Stalkers hide in shadows. I'm sitting across from you in broad daylight, telling you the truth. Your father borrowed money from dangerous people, money he couldn't repay. 3 days ago, those people decided to collect their debt another way. Elena's world tilted. My father is dead. Yes, and his debts aren't. She shook her head, trying to process his words through the fog of panic. I don't have anything to do with my father. I haven't seen him in 8 years. Whatever he owed, it's not my problem. It became your problem the moment they decided you were worth more than the cash. The words hung in the air between them. Elena felt sick. Her father had been a gambler, a liar, a man who disappeared for months at a time and reappeared only when he needed money. She had cut ties with him after her mother died, refusing to be pulled into his chaos. She had built a quiet life, a safe life. Who are you? She whispered. My name is Dominic Castellano. He said it like she should recognize it. When she didn't react, something flickered in his eyes. You really don't know, do you? Should I? Most people do. He leaned back in his chair, somehow making the casual movement look controlled and deliberate. I run certain business operations in this city. Operations your father interfered with. When he couldn't pay what he owed, he was dealt with. The organization he borrowed from wanted to make an example. They wanted to take you. I made sure they couldn't. Why? The question burst out of her. Why would you do that? You don't know me. His eyes held hers. Because you're mine to protect now. The possessiveness in those words should have terrified her, should have sent her running for the door. Instead, something deeper stirred, something old and primal that recognized the certainty in his voice. I'm not anyone's, Elena said, but her voice had lost its strength. You are now. He pulled a card from his jacket pocket and slid it across the table. This has my number. You'll need it. The men your father crossed won't give up easily. They'll come for you eventually, and when they do, you'll call me. I'll call the police. The police can't help you with this. His tone wasn't cruel, just matter of fact. The organization your father wronged operates above their reach. But they won't touch you. Not while you're under my protection. Elena stared at the card. Simple. Black with silver lettering. Just a phone number. I didn't ask for this, she said quietly. No one asked for their fate. Dominic stood, buttoning his jacket. But you can choose how you face it. You can hide and hope they don't find you, or you can accept the reality of your situation and let me keep you safe. He started to walk away, then paused. For what it's worth, Elena, I'm sorry you were pulled into this world. But now that you're here, you'll find it's not as simple as light and dark. There are reasons people like me exist. Sometimes the monsters keep worse monsters at bay. She watched him leave, the bell above the door chiming his exit. The coffee shop slowly came back to life around her. Conversations resuming, the espresso machine hissing, but nothing felt the same. Elena looked at the card in her hand, then at her laptop screen, the quarterly report still waiting to be finished. Her normal life, her safe life, except it wasn't safe anymore. Maybe it never had been. 3 days later, Elena's apartment felt smaller than usual. She had spent those days researching Dominic Castellano, finding threads and whispers online but nothing concrete. He was a ghost wrapped in rumors, powerful, dangerous, connected to families that ran the city's underbelly with iron fists. She shouldn't trust him. She shouldn't even consider calling him. The knock on her door at midnight made the decision for her. Elena froze on her couch, book forgotten in her lap. Another knock, harder this time. A man's voice, unfamiliar and cold. Elena Voss. Open the door. We just want to talk. Her hand shook as she grabbed her phone. She thought about calling the police. She thought about hiding in the bathroom. Instead, her fingers dialed the number on the black card. Dominic answered on the first ring. Elena, they're here, she whispered. At my door, I know. Don't open it. Don't say anything. I'm 2 minutes away. How are you? I told you. You're mine to protect. That means I keep watch. The line went dead. Elena clutched the phone, listening to the men outside her door. Their voices had grown impatient. Something heavy thudded against the wood. They were going to break in. Then she heard it. Footsteps in the hallway. New voices, sharp with authority. A brief exchange she couldn't quite make out. Followed by silence. 1 minute passed. 2. Then a different knock. Gentler. It's me, Dominic said from the other side. Elena's legs trembled as she crossed to the door. She opened it to find him standing there, perfectly composed despite whatever had just happened. Behind him, the hallway was empty. They're gone, he said simply. What did you do? What needed to be done? He stepped inside, closing the door behind him. Pack a bag. You can't stay here anymore. Where am I supposed to go? With me. Elena laughed, but it came out broken. I can't just leave my life. My job, my apartment, everything. Your life was interrupted the moment your father made his choices. Dominic's voice softened. I'm offering you a chance to build a new one. Under my protection. In my world. It's not the life you planned, but it's the one you have now. She wanted to argue. Wanted to fight against the unfairness of it all. But standing in her small apartment, knowing that men had just been outside her door ready to take her, Elena realized something. Her quiet life had always been an illusion. Safety was never guaranteed. Maybe it never had been. What happens if I say yes? She asked. Dominic looked at her for a long moment. You become part of something bigger. You learn the rules of a different world, and you'll never have to fear anyone again, because they'll fear me. They'll fear what I'll do to anyone who tries to harm what's mine. And what are you? Elena whispered. Really? An alpha protecting his territory. His eyes held hers. And you, Elena Voss, are the most important part of that territory now. Not because of your father's debts. Because I chose you. The words should have sounded insane, possessive, wrong. But in the darkness of her apartment, with her world crumbling around her, they sounded like a promise. Like something solid to hold on to. Elena took a breath. I'll need more than one bag. Something that might have been relief crossed his face. Take what matters. I'll have the rest brought to you. As she moved through her apartment, gathering pieces of her old life, Elena felt the shift happening inside her, fear giving way to something else. Not quite trust, not yet, but maybe the beginning of it. Dominic waited by the door, patient and still, a dark guardian between her and the chaos beyond. And for the first time in 3 days, Elena felt something that surprised her. She felt protected. She felt claimed. And somewhere in the deepest part of herself, she felt like maybe this was exactly where she was meant to be. The coffee shop on 5th and Maple would have to find a new regular customer. Elena Voss was stepping into a different story now. One written in shadows and steel gray eyes. One that promised danger and darkness, but also, perhaps, belonging. And in a world where safety was always an illusion, belonging to someone powerful enough to back up his promises didn't seem like the worst fate after all.